Welcome back. So we're right back to shallograms. Just jump into it. That's what we're doing. I was thinking about it. I lost subscribers after my last video. I'm like, people don't really appreciate the shallogram videos. They probably subscribed because of Earth-related videos, and now I'm just spamming shallograms, and it's probably annoying to people who don't agree. But it's the fact of the matter is it's true, and what I'm doing is presenting the proofs, really, the proofs. Okay, so these are from Rudraksh Guru YouTube channel, this YouTube channel. I just went through the videos as well as the shorts and anything, especially anything that was full screen, not just like this, and especially anything that was like a lot of detail to it. I didn't really look at this one, let's say. I was just curious what was up with there. Okay, but anyway. Also, I tried to see if maybe there's anything that came up if I search for anomalous ammonites or anomalies. Something anomalous about shell abnormal like that. (2000) adult late Cretaceous, so abnormalities around the late Cretaceous. Just got a request. Okay. Okay, let's get to it though. So this, close all those. This one, we can see all these, basically the teeth around the boundary have these bubble chamber type things going on, some of which extend to the interior and create a chamber. Chamber. Makes no sense for a fossil to do this. We have to introduce some random, some species, some other thing that's going between the ammonite itself and like in this region and just creating chambers. It doesn't make any sense. People are cheating. That's what's happening. People are cheating. They're acting as if, oh, every time there's a nuance we can't explain, we can introduce a new species and claim something is doing this, when it's really all done by current flows. Also, this is just not accounted for, really. Looks like it would have formed a chamber down there. That's interesting. This line definitely has a boundary here that's very subtle. Like the difference here and then up here where it's more pixelated, this is more like cross currents. But it didn't form enough of an imbalance. Whatever is going on up here had like a boundary with what's going on down here, and over here it created teeth at the boundary, but down over here it didn't, but it created a differential in the appearance of the rock, which we can see here again. This is upside down, so it's the same location. A bubble off this side as well. I don't think they're directly related to the chambers that we find in the ammonite spiral itself, but perhaps related to the process. Another angle. This tooth here just becomes really large, but it's still like teeth that have a chakra type thing here, just coming out of this stretch, which is under his finger here, right here. So coming out of that huge wave. Pardon me. Then some marks on this side, some teeth, just kind of eroded into the exterior of the stone. There they are again. These things that are in line with each other, so definitely related, as well as kind of pointing generally back to where this ends, so showing some relationships between how these formed and how this formed. And this is in line with that over there, so there's probably a relationship between these currents and over there, like some cross current going generally this way, where there's also currents going this way that are then interacting and creating these waves. But not so much over here, like it's not strong enough for the current going along here, perhaps because of the shape of the rock is caused to go in further into the rock, where as it goes over here, it's able to protrude out further, even though it's like the same general distance from the center. So it's essentially a similar circumstance in that way. It's able to go outside the rock maybe, versus over here where it's more elongated. Also, looking at it from this angle, this is kind of like perhaps a pole to pole with an equator that's generally maybe like here. So this maybe goes generally from connecting pole, like this last one points pretty much at the pole of the rock itself. So maybe connecting pole to the equator. Some type of interaction like that. Again, this makes no sense except for currents. Currents can explain this. I know I say that a lot. This makes no sense except for currents. Currents can explain this because that's the reality of the situation. What exactly is causing this in terms of these chambers? Some kind of short circuit between the wavelengths, like this wavelength, like there's maybe a peak here, right there, and then maybe another one there-ish, and that's another one over there. Maybe it's kind of a straight line. It's hard to say when it's very straight. But like, where they energetically coupled by having maybe a current go off this way, a current go off this way, and they like connected. Or just like pushed out pushed out a boundary, because essentially it probably is facing cross currents this way, so like going up this way is not so easy, so it runs into current, so it bends over that way, but then some reason goes back down. Like, I don't know exactly, maybe this is kind of reaching up, and so when this goes over, this reaches up, and they just connect and allow for a little zone for current to flow along this, which maybe contributes to it being less etched over here and more straight, where this side has a little bit more teeth to it. And then these look kind of like this is going down to like across, like how this one's going down to there. This is also going down to like that position in the lobe. This is going generally down to the chakra and then down from the chakra. A little to the side, I guess, but like the way it angles along the far right side is maybe like generally pointing down to like there. Definitely a relationship. Here's another one. I just took some pictures of this one. Chakra's in here. Chakra there, right there. That then goes out that way. So there's a chakra there that I guess is missing its counterpart over here, and then right above it to the side. This one looks like it's like its middle point maybe is related to the top, and its base is more related to the second chakra up here. That would have been, but off center. I'm not sure exactly why it would form to the side, but down in like this space, like in a little crevice. Then there's some chakras that are more, tend to be found on smaller stones where they just sort of have a pillar and like a flat edge erosion shape. These three, so I thought that was interesting in a larger rock. I mean, they do have a little bit of a rounded lobe to this one, for example, but it's very pillar-like. That one's more flat-edged. Just some features. I want to get to another one, actually. Interesting features. Little etchings into the side there. This is strange. It's almost like whatever's here ended up creating some kind of flow. It did something wobbly like the teeth, but created like points along the way. Instead of a continuous etching of the teeth structure, it just created like certain points. I don't know. Some more teeth. Roundedness to this. This is interesting, the shapes. Triangle there, diamond there, kind of galactic ammonite-esque there and here with the little tails. Okay, this one. I don't know. Let's see if their website's back up. Nice. Nice. I've not checked out these two. But that means we can go to this real quick. Videos. Let's find that stone that I was just looking at. Long, thin black one. There should be a link. Did I pass it? There it is. It's not the same shallogram. So I don't think this one's on their website. Don't think it's on the website. Maybe it is in somewhere, but I don't recognize it. Chakras there. There's very flat surface here. It almost looks like rounded, and at the very end, where this roundedness goes like across and meets like a current generally across this way, is this chakra structure. Also, this looks like maybe it kind of fed into whatever's going on over there. Some lines there, some lines there. A lobe here, so probably some chakra somewhere in there, maybe there. Little. This is really interesting, this region. So in here, it kind of looks like a small lobe and a big lobe of an ammonite with chakras here. Here, it's like a rounded with a center thing going on, which maybe is also at a lot of these other places, like this one. This one's got a, like the connectors across. At least one there, maybe there, with some like quartz maybe that fills the space where the current flowed along the boundary more so. Something ammonite-esque in there as well. There's a chakra there probably. So we can kind of see in here, but notice these are actually kind of like this. Like my two fingers here, like wrapping, bending, like this way, like into the left. So they're kind of more so like two segments of chambers of an ammonite structure that has a column, like elongated chakra connecting the layers. Like it kind of looks like a chakra there, but it really has a, like, goes back. Little pole thing going on there, some etchings in here. This segment has a really deep gash in it. You can kind of see a gash there where this segment, which looks like a current, was maybe like literally making like a U shape, like trying to cut underneath this, but not able to. So it just goes up and over, but then there's pressure up here, so it goes around it and down and makes like a overall U shape to the current, without being able to remove this chunk here. Can definitely see some little, I don't want to say teeth, they're little like slits in a row, many of them, with space. That's a good angle maybe to see into what's going on there. Like there, we can see it much more elongated. It looks like it even goes over like that. Like I think if physicists, geologists, biologists, especially physicists, I believe if physicists understood what I'm talking about shalograms, like on a large enough scale, it could catalyze complete understanding where we can actually reach a new stable equilibrium as a collective of being able to support and sustain our society without, like, the adverse effects that are present now in our methods, because we don't really know what's going on. Chemistry as well, like chemists, people are really trying to figure out what the structure of an atom is really like. The potential in shallograms is so great that even if there's no, like, conclusions that I'm drawing in a more cohesive way where I'm like, okay, like, this is how energy flows. Here are the steps, like, in circumstances of resistance with continued energy flow and capacity to propagate into a region. Like, as long as it's able to get in, it's finding ways through it, etching out spaces in it, things that are probably, I was thinking maybe someday we could arrive at a great enough understanding to almost make like a video game of it, where people could just like learn how energy flows in certain circumstances, and like, who knows. So I don't know, I just keep thinking about how I'm just constantly talking about shallograms. It is what it is. It is what it is. This is nice and flat. A little etch in there. Well, maybe 5-pointed star shape. Can kind of see the roundedness to that. It looks like it had a current flow come in that had like an outer edge as well as an inner edge, and the inner current like drilled into the center there in a way that's not always occurring right in the center of it. I'm not sure what to make of this stone as a whole. This looks in a line. There's a good picture of that hole. If that's a chakra right there, it's really in a line. It might have been, it's hard to say, it might have just been some debris, some mound inside there. Okay, so round 2, let's check out the photos I took. I mean, so in here we can't really see it. You can see that roundedness here. Looks like it's kind of forming one of those U shapes too, where it like goes here, runs into resistance and goes around it, as well as into an inner region, like right there. Some mound that like encourages a portion, divides a portion. Some of it goes this way, but some of it gets divided into stay in the center region by this mound separator that holds maybe lower energy currents, like the ones physically closer to the rock held like to not be able to go through, so it goes along it, while higher currents just go above it. And then around, I guess. Something of that nature. But that's incredible. Starting to kind of straighten there. That's interesting. Little window in there. I was especially interested in this little region, so we can kind of see it going back. It looks like it's separated top and bottom, like there's a little break between the pillar itself in the middle. This looks like chakras forming two lobes, sort of. Like it didn't do it so much, but it kind of did. More so than like here and here. Perhaps there was a current going in there. And then an outer current that ended up going above there, above the surface and along here. And this inlet pushed out the boundary here and just made it harder to etch into, leaving behind that. That seems related. I don't know. Teeth. This tooth has something there, there. That's interesting. Looks like a butterfly. Kind of see some ammonite looking things potentially starting to form a little bit. Is that the chakras there? I think that's the actual chakras we saw earlier. Those ones. It's like a current came in this way from like his finger, like that way. And divided. And part went this way, part went this way. Into these two structures. That's what that looks like. Came in this way. Generally along this path, I guess. And part of the current just was separated away. Perhaps by this mound, like overall. Like it was pushing into the material itself, and the material got compacted into this region of the stone to just not be able to etch in through it. I don't know exactly why it would bend like that. Especially without some kind of counter current like there, holding the boundary, although maybe whatever's going on down there is like making this region more pressurized, so current couldn't like rip it apart. Instead compacted it and made it more of a rock, more and more rock-like. Participated more in that way, making it this looks kind of spirally over here too, like that one. This looks bent. It makes me think of sometimes I'll find chakras between the chakras, So like these chakras don't have a particle, but sometimes they do. Let's see, like this system between the chakras, which is pretty much a particle between the chakras in a chemistry and physics sense. But that sometimes that chakra will be like blown off to the side. Like a good example maybe is actually the one I have. Can kind of see it off to the side there, like that. Instead of being like connected this way, it's kind of off to the side. I was thinking maybe there's something of this nature where it's still formed a full-blown chakra, it has a structure, but it still is really part of a larger spiral that gave it like a preferential bend here at the chakra that led to a like angle in the outcome. I don't know. It was a thought I had. Okay. Lots of cool stuff. That's definitely the region in question. This, and this are opposite side of this. This. There's that opening. Or no. Sorry. This and this. This and this. Opening here under his finger is this one. Is it possibly that? No, I don't know. It's just incredible. It even looks like it has like a little inner tab there. So whatever was going on here, probably because of the shape of the rock, was not able to form a more typical terminal shape that can happen in the spherical type ones. Like these ones. These are not the most... So usually they have a tab. There it is. A more distinguished tab sticking out. So it's probably related to a process like this, but this tends to happen in more spherical ones. So maybe whatever was going on here was trying to do that, but the rock's overall structure was not able to like accommodate that, so it then had currents go out this way and it like interacted like that way. Like it definitely goes back into the rock a bit there. Okay, so this is another one, of course. I'll just keep going, I guess. What are we at? 35 minutes? So that was that one. Some closing statements. Not much to say, particularly. These are in a line. These are, like we've been talking about, just the details we've been talking about. I don't know if I can come up with a more cohesive, like, overall current flows that were present, because of how it's just kind of, like, etched in at places, kind of appearing randomly. Like, outside systems are at play, where it's not just current on the surface, it's also current, like, sent in beams to the surface. Although maybe the shape of the rock itself led to the current flows on the surface being very much like this, I don't know, and doing these things to itself in a way, rather than having an outside system and interacting. My first guess, though, is there's an outside system or several outside systems, like, at least contributing, like, beams to this rock, and otherwise would be more, like, smooth throughout. That's my guess. There certainly were surface currents too. It's just when there's outside interactions, it's more, sometimes that happens on shallograms, like, distinguishably. I would say it's possible here as well. I mean, this doesn't seem to just, like, spawn on its own, unless it's, like, pole to pole, like the one we're looking at here. This tends to happen pole to pole. If we go to drilled through, maybe? No. Pole to pole. Nozzle. These nozzles. Like, this is basically part of one of those. So it can have a structure like this throughout the rock, which doesn't really make sense for it just kind of doing a drilling into the rock here. It would be more going through the rock, like through. Again, maybe because of its shape. It's just it's hard to say without really thinking about it intensely. And even then, maybe having the rock in it, I may just come to the conclusion at that point that it is outside systems, but then it's just kind of like I was talking about cheating earlier. It's not cheating, it's just like, well, there are other systems having current flows. This is all happening simultaneously, so they are interacting. It just is harder to tell at that point in a more scientific way, where I can just be like, this current flow wraps around here, and look how these lead into one another, and just really show on the flows that float on the surface that the process is happening, and it's not just fossils stuck in a rock and that's it. It's not that. That's not what happened here. That's not what happened to any shallogram. That's not how any ammonite formed. None of them formed by the embedding of a shell in a rock where the shell pre-existed. The shell formed in the rock by current flows. So this little gold speck in here, that's pretty cool. Let's check out this one. Pardon me, I'm gonna keep muting myself. Can kind of see a crack in here, like there's something interesting back there. It's not just continuous like this side. Also up here we can kind of see some teeth. Now it's more clear. There's a chakra there. This going on there. Can even see his finger down there, so it's pretty interesting what happened on that side. There's the top. Over here, I guess that's what that is. It looks so different here. Subtle etchings out here. Oh, the shell, it's really inexplicable from a fossilization standpoint, except for that no one is pressuring the matter. No one's pressing the issue, being like, this is not a fossil. People are like, it's fossil. No one's like, no, it's not. Here's why. On a like way where it has to induce a conversation and a response, a rebuttal. Because people are just accepting that they're fossils. It's kind of like expanding Earth. Like if someone says that Earth expanded, which is true, then scientists won't even talk about it. So in the same way, when someone says ammonites are not fossils, scientists don't even, they don't even know about that. They don't even know about that. I'm sure there's a few people who are aware. They're probably generally aware of the history where they were like, what are these? And it wasn't clear that they were fossils initially, which is kind of interesting. They didn't look at them and immediately say they're fossils. I mean, of course, that was a interpretation amongst the possibilities, but people really considered alternatives. It's just they never saw shallograms. Like, Western science has not met shallograms yet. Only in like a accepting that they're fossils standpoint, where there is no rigorous analysis of the question, are these fossils anymore? Is because they're literally not. Anyway. So this side we kind of see some interesting, almost dendritic thing going on. Not really dendritic, but like maybe relating to the mechanism. Okay, so that was that one. What do I... This is interesting. Like, I swear there's little bands sticking out of specks in a kind of rows. Something to this. It's hard to say. It's almost like a connect the dots where there's so many possibilities to determine what way the currents were flowing. That was like something with the top of this where the, this side was being etched through. This side was having these particles of this material distributed along channels, or maybe etching into the surface. Outer surface. I was thinking more from within, like pushing to the boundary of these materials, almost like bubbling to the surface. These materials, but maybe etched along the surface. But it kind of has a spiral shape here, almost like a chakra looking thing from this angle here. Even though like the chakra's under there, like down here somewhere. Like the way this is, it kind of looks like a yin yang. Looks like possibly little teeth type things going on around it. I don't know if I took a picture of that edge very well. It probably was teeth type things. From here. Yeah, that's that protruding part there. Okay, this one's got a little smiley face. Eyeball, nostrils. Lots of little pores. Looks like a pore, like right in that chakra, and in its lower rungs. Definitely a pore in that chakra. That's interesting. This, like what? Inexplicable by fossilization. Not only the fact that it's over here, but this is not uniform. Like it's much smaller, and then it becomes much actually sloped too. Like these teeth are almost like this way. They have like a bend and then a flat edge, especially this one. And then it turns into just a V shape over here and something going on there. Not sure if I have a better picture. I did not mean to close that. Let's see if we can find Smiley Face Man. There's that one. Smiley Face Man. This one I've referenced before. It looks pretty different in this image, in the video. Same features and everything, but different. To see it like rotated. So cool. There's another one like that other one. Smiley face. I was not really paying close attention. I'm gonna went by a smiley face. It may also be in the shorts. It's okay. Let's go back. We did that one, we did this one. Okay. So then we did this. Oh, okay, smiley face too. Okay. Chakra images maybe are not that great there. This one not really. This looks like a lobe. Like one of these, we can see the like bends in it with steps, and then the like final chamber, final step chamber, kind of like over here, but it didn't form completely. And then this side is also doing that over here, but not so much over here. A chakra across it, so like it's beginning to form an ammonite. Didn't form it though. Literally no explanation from a fossilization standpoint. Well, sometimes it just doesn't replace the material and puts shale there and leaves it looking like this. Oh my god, dude. It's honestly ridiculous. Looks like some chakras there. Yep, yep. Chakra, chakra. So these are kind of maybe above, although maybe related. Like that kind of looks like it points towards there, or maybe, I don't know. They're usually not like pointing at an angle at the chakra like that. This kind of shows it pretty good. I guess it's kind of pointing there. There's another chakra here. This one looks possibly related to like the high point of this side. Also, this one's extending over here, but didn't have space, so it did it on this side, but not on this side. This is maybe also didn't have space, like something going on over here that was just preventing current from flowing this way so much, so it more went this way. Began to etch in these teeth over here, and then as it reached the end of the rock, where it then was able to fan out for some reason, it fanned out more so over here. This right here, chakras, and then again, kind of off, not the very end, but like the high point within the chamber is this thing. It goes this way, this way, this way, this way, and then maybe like that. Where below it, it goes down. It basically does two shapes right next to each other. From the same point to generally the same point. Why would a fossil do that? Why would fossilization do that? It makes no sense. It makes zero sense. Currents would do that. Currents do that. Currents did that. We can see that currents did that because that's how this happened. Like, it was not a shell embedded. And it's even like randomly over here. I guess, see, in instances like that, that's when new species are introduced. Oh, it's kind of like dark energy, dark matter. Maybe not dark matter. Pardon me. Still gotta think through dark matter in terms of maybe there being some mass there that's not interacting in the normal ways because of its like variance from the mass we are acquainted with in terms of like its subtleness. Like it only interacts through layers, so that when it interacts we see like larger systems interacting effectively and don't really account for it that it's interacting too and basically like contributing and causing even the other interactions. I don't know. But dark energy and expansion of space are just like new species are to ammonites. Oh, this feature. There's some lines in this that make no sense. that like in terms of an ammonite, so it must be some other species that's like was eating the stone. It really likes stone. It ate shale. It would go along the surface, and it would do so preferentially in ammonite-like shapes for no reason, because it liked the ammonites, so it ate in a shape like them rather than just kind of random walk, which would make more sense. If there was something sitting there eating this rock, it wouldn't randomly walk in waves. This right here is proof positive these are not fossils. It's as simple as that. This side almost looked like a galactic arms. I don't know why it would only do that kind of structure, but interesting. And possibly relating to some top-bottom like connection point between them that maybe was more over here than like centered. Clearly related and clearly not the same shape, clearly abnormal, not as if a shell was there, as if a current flowed, because it's too abnormal. It's just not typical for anything to be like completely asymmetrical and like are largely dependent on circumstances and what its environment is and what shape it takes. Like a shelled creature is gonna have a shell that's like a spiral or some other like standard shape, but it's not gonna have like abnormal shapes within the spiral or within the whatever shape it takes. Is going to have regularity that would not induce this. This also points generally at this chakra, so probably it's related, maybe even above a little bit. Keep going. Some chakras in there, so that's probably where we were just looking, right there. So there's some chakras in there. This is the opposite, it's turned. So this side is down here. So it's got kind of like a big old lobe here. Maybe a smaller lobe like there. And another lobe generally there, but another there even. A small one there. Another going this way maybe. Off of like opposite to this. That are just subtle but not creating full-blown shallogram shapes or ammonite shapes. Also this, like if a current goes around this way, let's say it's going like this, generally. And then another current is like going from here through here, across, like down the through, maybe across this way. Like maybe some of this current divided off this way by the pressure of this, like pushed out some of this current and bowed it out this way. Etch those locations. Something of that nature, possibly. Not the best shots there. Okay, there's another one that doesn't make any sense. Chakra shell with like spaced slits. Spaced, possibly spaced, spaced, slit, 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 slit. And these slits are like arbitrarily angled like this to meet over here in a kind of like a V shape. Makes me think of the stag in the Himalayas where Dammit Arcund is. That I've talked about in my Dammit Arcund videos, so highly relevant when it comes to shalograms. So it's like whatever's going on here is holding a boundary, so this looks like it goes up a little bit. Like from over here, it goes up a little bit and over. And then this one, whatever's going on here, another chakra region, this goes over this way and would normally go like straight across. Normally would go this way, but it runs into what's going on here, which probably, I guess, going this way ultimately through here rather than this way. I guess it could be doing either. I would think this way though. And pushing this current upward, so it elevates it that way, and then it goes across here at where these meet. And then maybe this is going this way though. It wouldn't really contribute to this, so it would have to almost be something to do with these other currents pushing current off that way too. So it may be that it went that way. Or even like in bands, like many banded from like a single point, generally banded out that way. I don't know. Those chakras, I mean, this one definitely is related to there. This one, like, it would have a shape out here, so even though this is coming off of this one, the overall shape down here looks highly related to this system. So they're definitely interacting. Seemingly, all of these are connected in this region. Like right there. And then go off that way to interact over there with a pole type region, I guess. Maybe this is like a connection path down through here. From pole to pole, that energy flowed. Okay, we can see it more going that way, so it's probably going around one way or the other. Wasn't going this way. More chakras down here. This one. Like, it looks related to where the rock physically folds. Like, over the top here. Like, it goes up to the top, basically. And then points at the boundary of the top as well. And generally is within, like, this, like, cross section. Dear God. Oh, my poor wrist. Years of mouse use. Decades. Not sure what's going on here. That looks like that one spot over here that this leads into. Don't think that's anything pictured beforehand. Not the best quality of those I took there. Some more over here. This looks generally related to this bend. Like this actually bends around towards that. Like if we follow, instead of what stayed within this region, like if we follow this line, or vice versa, like this one in here. And then maybe around, generally on around in that direction, and drain down that way, and then out that way, something of that nature going on. So then connect it over to something going on there, I guess. Like again, just random, not explicable by claiming trace fossils. Like things of this nature. That's what's being claimed about shalograms, is their trace fossils. When it's not the ammonite itself, it's trace fossils. In these cases, it's not trace fossils. It makes no sense for the trace fossils to do all of the intricacies that they do. It literally makes no sense. It's just hand waved. Currents can do this. It's that simple. Very, like the way these are angled but parallel. And then at the top though, there's one this way, almost like at the pole. It has one squeezed in across there. Okay guys, I gotta go. That's all of these. I got a bunch more shalograms, but these are the ones from the videos that I saw from Rudraksh Guru. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.